Okay, so people are coming in, welcoming, anything, sense of welcoming them. A sense of joining, a sense of gathering, internally and externally. And just like this, gathering internally, welcoming internally. Settling in this time and space. The meeting is scheduled to start it in a couple of minutes, 2 or 3 minutes. I'm giving the first 15 minutes even to the sense of welcoming, the sense of settling, the sense of being in touch, internally, externally, and just as it is, with how it is. And putting aside the worries, the doubts, the remorse, the hopes, the fears, the concerns, liking or disliking, knowing it's like this, and gathering in this here and now, this time, this space, and giving a sense of enough. I can give attention, give this time and space, give it to this attention, and receive this time and space, this given. And this rhythm of giving, receiving, receiving and giving, receiving life, giving care and attention, without needing or feeling overwhelmed or worrying or trying to get something from this or get rid of something from this. Not even trying to get it right. And just this knowing. welcoming as people arrive, as things arrive, as life arrives. And born in receptivity, responding with generosity, a sense of gratitude for life, for this which is given. All the time, all the space. It's here and now. However it's experienced, it's always here and now. And the gift and stillness and the acceptance of the limitation. It is this here and now. And in accepting this limitation, giving fully that which transcends this liberation, this attention, this care. This gift. And breath. Received and released. Released and received. This life. Received and released. The silence and the stillness. Appreciated for its sensitivity, its resilience. the silence and the stillness, sound and movement, always within silence and stillness. And this knowing, in touch with the sense of well-wishing that is life, and making real, realizing ease independent of conditions. This alert attention receives life and gives life to life, giving attention, giving life to life, presence to the present, this knowing, this welcoming, this gathering. In this stillness, allowing and receiving life, and giving attention not trying to get rid of expectation or urgency or worry or doubt. Or becoming nothing to do, nothing to get, nothing to become, nothing to be worried about. It's this. And this evening, for me, morning or night or whenever it is in your time and space, is an opportunity, something that we can. Somebody asked me this week about joy, and having to find joy or be joyful. And it set me wondering a tiny bit about mudita and that Brahma Vihara, or that mature emotion, which is, a natural result of a heart free from confusion. And then I thought, well, it came something about the sense of almost excitement or a sort of interest, and of how that works and where that fits in with the teachings as I understand them, because obviously this understanding is partial, and the teachings themselves are only pointing to something. So in all of this, how does it work? And the Anapanasati Sutta, which is a great contemplation, it goes with the Satipatthanas, and then it goes to the Bojjhangas, and the Bojjhangas have, contemplating the Bojjhangas has great result. And the Bojjhangas are in the Mahasatipatthana Sutta. So, and the one of the Bojjhanga, or the angas, are like limbs, and I think in one somebody translates them as wings, and that they're like the sort of, maybe they are wings, and they they can lift you, but maybe they're also just the limbs that are used to paddle yourself across the river is you make a raft on one side. To get to the other side, you paddle using limbs. You don't even make a sail or anything to get you to the other side. And this is one of the ways the teaching is described. And so maybe the Bojjhangas are wings, maybe they're just limbs that you struggle with to work out how to use. But they lead to, when they're developed, they lead to liberation through wisdom, through understanding. And the one that the Bojjhanga that really has that sense of it brings joy is it comes after. It's about the third one of the seven. It's that one that's called piti, which is sometimes translated as rapture, but I also sometimes translate it as interest. It comes fourth, actually. It comes after virya, but it's because the Bojjhango Sati Sankhato, it's the Sati is the first one. And then with Sati, there's with mindfulness, with clear attention, what one's looking for with Sati is the Satipatthana, and then the Satipatthana, in terms of investigation of Dhammas, in the Satipatthana, the fourth Satipatthana, because that's the second of the Bojjhanga, investigation of Dhammas. And the first thing that one comes across is called the five hindrances. And those are, the dwelling in lustful or sensual distractions, or dwelling in just aversion and pushing away in some way, trying to get rid of, or just not liking, and then figuring out how those work and turning them into Dhammas. People talk about turning the hindrances into Dhammas, and then you've got the torpor, which is sloth, and torpor, which is like sort of dullness of the heart, which is both pleasant and unpleasant, and or the restlessness and remorse or worry, which again, the sense of don't want this, I want the next thing, don't want this, I want the next thing, which is all kind of tied up and begins or ends with doubt, not knowing what to do about it all. So turning those into Dhammas, investigating those as Dhammas, that's the next step. And then the effort that one puts into it is the effort to basically to stop. And effort is always first about stopping. It's not indulging in stuff. It's actually that sense of power of being able to say no. No, it's the power really of that the 2-year-old starts to recognize, the very strong, in the sense of I don't have to go along with this. It's it's a natural development of a 2-year-old, and it can be quite irritating. But when it's as strong as that within an adult, it's like I'm not going to follow this, and sometimes that's really helpful. I'm not going to do this. And so then cultivating the helpful. But in terms of the Bojjhanga and working with those, in the Satipatthana they come after the hindrances, after the five khandhas, after the way that the six senses are. The six senses are, and the sense, and they're concomitant, internal, external, and the consciousness associated with it. So it's the six senses and how they, if they're not really understood, how they add to the fetters. People talk about getting caught up in something or being pulled out. Well, the being pulled out is when it's not that we're pulled out, it's that we put our energy out into something, and that's what compounds the fetters. The sense of I have to go out through the senses and do something about it. It's not wrong, all of this, and the fetters. It's understanding, which is going to liberate. It's not trying to break the fetters or get rid of the fetters or say that I should do something about it, because that just further entangles oneself in it, because it's all tied up with me having to do something. But they're not sure whether it's the right thing or not, of course, which is the first three fetters. You don't get rid of the fetters by trying to fight them. It's through understanding them. So, and understanding is, this sense of willing to investigate Dhamma Vichayo, is, and then the effort that puts into it, and then the interest that comes from that, the sense of this is really good stuff, and that almost excitement at wanting to follow the Dhamma. That's piti. And then, so you have the first one is sati, the next one is Dhamma Vichaya, the third one is virya. And then the fourth one is this piti, which is what which came to mind as a way of talking about, almost active mudita, because it's mudita is actually much more subtle and joyful and natural. Dhamma Vichayo is, and the piti that comes from it is almost something that one can work and just by coming into the body and having that interest, and it's piti is almost a physical experience, a whole body experience. Sometimes it's described as rapture, and there are degrees of it we talk about, but that's maybe what some people are looking for when they're looking for joy in their practice. The suggestion is to work at these Bojjhangas, because in the contemplating in the Satipatthana, it's to know when they're not there, and then to know how to get it going, and then to know how to maintain it. So you can keep using your limbs for awakening, and all of them, to work with all of them. The wings to awakening, or the limbs for paddling across the river. This is the Bojjhangas. Because then after the sense of rapture, of course, that's quite it shakes a bit. The virya and the piti is like, it's quite shaky. So, what you really want is a sense of peace. So, the next one is pasadi, which is oh. Oh, which is no, that sense of, I think probably the person to really ask about this is probably Ajahn Vajiro, which is I don't know, but it's that sense of ease in it, the sense of, okay, sense of not making further problems about it. So, okay, you're using your limbs to try to paddle this thing, but you're making a lot of ripples in the water. So can you do it smoother? Can you do it smoother? Can you keep this going smoother so that it's not making such a thrashing around so much, so that the thing is more easy? And then, because that's then you can get more consistency and less resistance, because that's samadhi, is consistency, which is the 6. And then and then the 7th is upekkha. You've got the 7 factors of enlightenment, and you've got that link to the 4 Brahmaviharas through upekkha, which is the overseer. That's the one that is the serenity. It's the one that accepts limitation. It's the one that doesn't get flustered because one hasn't got it right, or it's not perfect. It's the one that can endure and stay with things with sensitivity. So the responses then follow from naturally from mudita, karuna, or metta. The upekkha oversees and is serene, and is not making a problem about limitation or about the fact that things aren't the way that one wants them to be, or the way that one imagines they should be. That all that sort of stuff is not making a problem about things. It's not making a hassle or interfering too much. This is the limitation. This is what I can do. I don't need to. This is about it. And then there's no conflict. The Buddha did not conflict with the world. He just didn't follow the world. It's not making a conflict about it or a struggle. It's just it's limitation. It's limited. This is the way that it's not supposed to be otherwise. It's understanding, which is a humbling experience. It's not I getting something, or I'm getting something out of this, or even I'm getting rid of something that I don't like about this. It's not dwelling in that way. Then the way that the responses can come can be free from need and from overwhelm. And it's a sense of I can do. It's the best I can do. So you've got the Mahasatipatthana Sutta, that leads only one way. It leads just to liberation. And you've got the basic body, that Bojjhango Sati Sankhato, so coming to the 4 foundations of mindfulness, coming to this breath, which is the first of the things that they describe in the Satipatthana Sutta. And the Satipatthana Sutta in itself referring to anapanasati, mindfulness with breathing, and mindfulness with breathing itself. Just the mindfulness with breathing itself will develop all the Satipatthana, all the rest of it. It is itself, as I mention from time to time, there are a few things that are like the ratchet, the thing that by turning on this one and perfecting this one, the rest goes on. The samadhi is the one that that you really need to get, because that refers to the 4 noble truths in and of itself. It's the bit that is self-referential. samasati refers to the Four Noble Truths. So that's self-referential. And it refers to the Four Noble Truths all the way through it, but certainly at the end of the Satipatthana Sutta, it goes through the Eightfold Path. So it's not, to work with it, you've got an in-breath, an out-breath, which you're stuck with. As long as you're alive, you're stuck with this thing. You're not going to say, well, somehow I'm going to get rid of breathing. Even the beings that, the humans that believe that they can live off just air, they still have to have air. It's still breathing. It's still this transformation that comes through allowing an in-breath, because you have to allow it. You try not breathing in. It doesn't work, does it? Somewhere along the way, the body takes over. You try not breathing out. Again, it doesn't work. It has its own rhythm, and this is life, rhythm. It's probably just rhythm and blues. It's just this is the way that there's going to be. If the blues are suffering, I don't know whether rhythm and blues points to dukkha, but it's the way of how this thing works. There's an in breath, an out breath. It's long or short, and this is the whole of it. And really, mindfulness with breathing will fulfill the whole of the four satipatthana. And in fulfilling this whole four satipatthana, there will be fulfillment of the seven factors of enlightenment, because that's involved with the four satipatthana. They're involved in knowing where they are, knowing that they're not present. It's noticing what we don't usually notice, noticing when there's no sati. And even when one knows that one doesn't know, one knows there's no sati, that's already, the start. Because then, why is there no sati? And then what is there no sati about? Oh, that's the investigation of the Dhamma. And so the effort will be made to, hey, stop. Hold it a second. What the heck's happening here? And in that, the freedom that comes from stopping, the freedom from not following things blindly, that is such a precious freedom. I didn't do that stupid thing. It's a great thing. It's more peaceful. This is the way that the Bojjhangas can work. And this will take you across. It's consistent. So that the limitation of what and the serenity that this life offers can be realized. There's no problem over things. This is the way that this limitation works. This is what one can do. One does the best one can, because it's a natural expression of a heart free from confusion, that there'll be joy, any goodness, appreciation of opportunity, appreciation of beauty, appreciation of a sense. No, beauty. What's beauty? Beautiful behavior, beautiful speech, beautiful thoughts, beautiful actions. and a lack of sense of jealousy or envy, which is the same thing. It's just perverted and taken personally. And there'll be naturally a sense of what's possible to relieve suffering will naturally come from that, because that's what humans can do. Humans, when they work best, they bring happiness. They're happiness creators. A happiness independent of condition, or pointing towards that which can lead to happiness, which independence of conditions, and the fulfillment of the human possibility, and never dwelling in aversion, never dwelling in a sense of I can't stand this. You might feel it. It's not to say don't feel averse to feeling averse, because that's the other thing. Because feeling averse is what's going to happen. You don't need to live there. You don't need to dwell there. It's part of this sensitivity that the senses can't work in ways that will always. You can't get happiness from the senses that will last. It's always, always, always going to be disappointing. It's always, always, always going to be eventually irritating, because there's a sense of, identifying with a sense of separation makes it more irritating. When it's the sense of is the bit that really, that's the bit. And it's not wrong either. The sense of and I is not wrong, because I'm the person who has to do something about it. Unfortunately, when I get something stuck in my foot, I'm the person who feels it. So it's up to me to figure out how to get it out. It's not, I might ask for help, but this is the bit that experiences it. And it's not supposed to be otherwise. Thinking that I should get rid of my sense of I is just making it much more complicated. It's just being silly. But we are silly. I'm thinking, well, I shouldn't be silly. It's going to be silly as well. So it doesn't, you go down that wormhole or that rabbit hole or whatever it is that you go down. But it gets more and more complicated. Come back to the sense of what is now. This is the breath. And a sense of interest in this, and the effort to just stay and sustain, and they stop putting the sense of I out there. This is how it is. Contentment with something really neutral. And the knowing of this moment, which is the ultimate neutrality. So with the 7 factors of enlightenment, to know when they're not there, to know how to cultivate them, to know how to sustain them. And there's the practice of satipatthana. And in the Anapanasati Sutta, it's the way that it works is the whole of the body breathing, calming the body, and then the interest in it, then the happiness in the interest, and then the patterns of the mind, calming the patterns of the mind, or the chitta, knowing the chitta as the chitta, and then naturally coming from that, raising it up, not getting caught in things, and then sustaining that, and then liberating from that, noticing how things are uncertain, because all of this play of me and mine, it shifts so much, it's all shifting and changing. It's not certain. It's no longer fooled. Things are seen in a different way. And they're allowed, seen in a different way. They're not so involved and caught up in it, not being so involved or caught up in it, noticing where it ends. Where does the sense of I end? It's really allowing Nirodha, the ending of something, to be known. Then it can be let go of. Yeah, there's a sense of something in my foot, or there's something irritating me, or something like that. But where is it not? What is not irritated? What is not? Where is an experience that's not painful? What's the perspective on this? Where's the serenity? Oh, well, for that, for your consideration this evening, I hope that some of it's helpful. Apologies if it's too much information or just confused babbling. Just leave it at the door, the ear door. Thank you for listening, and if you have questions, I'll try and answer. I don't like to be associated with people who are stupid or with low moral values. I try to avoid such types of people, and I've heard an interesting question. Then how can these people ever become wise if nobody likes to be associated with them? Don't get ideas about how wise we are. It's an old thing that the faults we see in others are really the faults that we don't acknowledge in here. It's a funny thing. Yeah, don't worry about it. It's not. Things will work out according to their karma. No, it's not. I'm not sure how things will work out. And even the Lord Buddha couldn't do everything to save his cousin from trying to kill the Lord Buddha. He couldn't stop Ajatasattu trying to killing his father. It's just how things work out. Is this regret going to be present all my life? If you hold on to it, it will. I think my pet dog that passed away 15 years ago, I didn't give him enough care and attention when I could. Is this regret going to be present all my life? Share merits with him. That's all right. And say, thank you for teaching me something, pet dog. And Thank you for being my teacher. And may you receive the blessings of whatever wisdom that I gain through my association with you. May you also share in that. That's what you can do. You can dedicate blessings. Helps you, and it doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt. Yes, how to deal with sickness. There's a whole really hard-hitting um, little essay that's been translated from the Japanese somewhere. There's some Zen master talking to his disciple who's complaining about being sick. It's really hard-hitting. If I don't know whether I can find it, but it basically said, certainly dwelling in aversion doesn't help. That's going to be really difficult. It's more like allow this little viral infection to be a practice for some of the bigger ones that you might have to face as you get even older. And that this is something that you're going to have to deal with if this body, if it doesn't smash itself up in some way or get smashed up in some way, is going to go through sickness. So notice what's sick, notice what's not sick. There's that, and you're lucky if it's just a viral infection that probably will go away if it doesn't kill you. You're lucky. You think of people who have chronic pain that never goes away, that parts of their body just don't work well. It's okay, but first of all, that's just being tough. Right? First of all, notice what's not sick. Notice the bits that's not sick. Notice what knows the sickness. And I notice how stupid sickness makes you. I know that I get really stupid if I feel my body's uncomfortable. I just try to do something to get rid of it, get rid of the discomfort, and notice that impulse. And dwell in the sense that you wish yourself well, and that life wishes itself well. The fighting that's going on, the fight that there's a viral infection, the fight that you've got a temperature. The temperature is actually the body trying to get to kill the viruses. It's just it's working hard. If it didn't have a temperature, it would be working hard, and the whatever sort of gumming up in your nose is just trying to get rid of stuff. It's just expressing its irritation and expressing the stuff that's trying to carry the nasty stuff away. So the body's just doing its job as best it can. Getting in the way of it is like telling it you should work faster. Is not really kind to it. Be kind to this body. Ask it, well, what would you really like? How can I be kind to it? And not to just indulge it, but at least ask it the question. And find yourself a good doctor. Sometimes doctors can know more than you do because they're more detached from the actual experience of sickness. That's why the Lord Buddha is described as the supreme doctor. He wasn't caught up in the sickness of eye-making and the confusion of ignorance about the way things are. Those are the sorts of things that I would do. I remember, I sometimes tell this, and I expect other people to also experience this. When something's really strongly painful or something, there's something that sometimes can detach from this pain and sort of see it from a different angle and see, this is ridiculous, and almost laugh at it. That's something that I've experienced. It's not, you don't have to keep going, poor me. You can go, poor me. You can go. What you can do is say, poor body. Treat it like treat it like it is. It's a sick body. It's a sick body. It needs care and attention. You wouldn't get so upset if it was somebody else who was sick. You just take care of it. Take care of them if you have the patience and the skill. Try and have the patience and the skill to look after this body, and do accept help if you can. Those are the things. And don't feel you have to enjoy meditating. Sometimes it's hard work. And if you're meditating to try and get out of the sense of what's happening, then that's not going to work, because the body's just going to say, nope, this needs care. You can't get out of what the body needs. Rest. Good luck, Wilton. And did I skip a third question? Oh, parents. Oh dear. It's because they're my parents. If there were somebody else's parents, you wouldn't be so upset with them. so, so appreciate them for the goodness. That's the thing. You want them to be different. And all they feel when they're around you is, I don't like you. They don't feel that I like you. If all they're feeling when you're around them is saying, you should be different, you should be different, if that's what you're thinking, then of course they're not going to get bad vibes, mate. it's that's what they'll get. However much you try to be sweet to them, if you keep thinking, well, I don't like you, then that's actually what they're going to receive. There's a sadness about that. And of course, what they'll give back is, we don't like you, because they won't like what you're giving them, and so they'll give it back to you. So appreciate whatever goodness they've done, whatever goodness they have. As you have to dwell in appreciation, dwell in mudita, rather than in aversion. Certainly don't dwell in aversion, dwell in upekkha. That's the way that they are. Yeah, how sickness works, how people get chronic sickness, or people have when they're very young or whatever. I don't know. There are many reasons for things like this, and it's not all karma. Sorry, it's in some respects everything's karma, but in other respects there are other causes and conditions about. Maybe there was some sort of exposure to something that people, and there are accidents. It's how you respond to things is the karma that you make. But to say it's their karma when you don't really know, you don't know why somebody got cancer. You don't know why all those kids got thalidomide. Because they were taking something that their mothers thought would help them through their pregnancy. Mothers, and then the kids were born without limbs. They were taking this. The mothers were taking this drug. I'm of the generation where that drug was available, so it was by chance that my mother did not take that drug. Which what was that about? I've got no idea. It's the way things work out, and some things are not necessarily karma. I just don't know in this case. I don't have the psychic powers to know. Now, how they respond to it will be how they respond to it. That's something that they'll have to figure out. But be as kind as you can to that person. And remember, actually, everybody you meet has at some time been your mother and father, and you've been the mother and father to all the beings that you meet, is one way of looking at it. Recognize that we're all brothers and sisters in old age, sickness, and death, that we all have these problems. that the problems you have, your parents have, problems that the person that you meet is the same problems that you have. Everybody has the same sort of problems. We all have this sort of sense of getting old, getting sick, getting and dying, being associated with things that we don't like, separated from what we like. We don't get what we want all the time. We can't do all the things that we want to do all the time. And even if we do try to get things, when we get something that we like, it becomes boring after a bit, or we don't like it. This is the way that we're in the same boat. This is what life is about. When you meet people, just think of them as being the same as you. Parents, know how they are. Thank you for your attention. I think that's probably enough for now. And keep breathing. Not much choice about that.